moving on to another favorite lens manufacturer of ours, our friends at Fujinon, my buddy Stosh. Stosh and I go to everywhere around the world, even if we don't see each other in the US continent, we see each other overseas, right? So, um, a quick word about Fujinon in the world of cinema. I think the reason why I wanted people to learn a little more about the Duvo lines is because they're the next generation. We keep talking about second generation. So the second generation of some of the most popular lenses for cinema ENG, the Cabrio line. I think Fujinon sort of invented the servo motor for cinema. It's been extremely successful, and I think this is an incredible advancement in the servo lens for cinema, in sports and other applications. So, Stosh, I think let's know a little more about the Duvo, especially the new one that you announced at IBC.
Great, thank you so much, MIchel, Marty, and everyone. Hopefully you guys are seeing the share now. I'm going to talk about a lens kind of at the other end of the spectrum from Cook's super nice lightweight primes there, and predominantly focus on the Duvo box lens, but touch on the whole new Duvo series. We had some exciting announcements at IBC. I've got some, I'm not going to hold this lens in front of you today, but I do have a great little reel just to show some pictures. I think one of the big difference makers that you'll see is when you actually see the content that comes off of a lens like this now. So to dive right in, what's happened over the last bunch of years is we're seeing more and more people looking for that cinema look. What is the cinema look? And it's that shallow depth of field, the expanded color space, the expanded latitude, really, a storytelling tool to creatively allow directors to draw the focus of the audience. We're seeing it in sitcoms, we're seeing it in reality television, and comedy specials, and concerts, and corporates, and houses of worships, of course, live sports, talk shows, even game shows. So what was missing? What was truly missing was one of these big, long, fast lenses. So what do we have here? It's the new CineBox PL mount lens. Where does this fit? Over the years, we've had our cinema products. We started with our E series and 2/3 inch up into the HKs. Today, it's the Premistas. We have our broadcast stuff, our 2/3 inch world that's kind of over at the other end. As MIchel said, the Cabrios really were a brand new thing 11 years ago now, a versatile ENG drive unit on the side of a cine lens, but the optical design kind of catered more to the cinematographer, with reduced breathing and flat T-stops wherever possible. Now with the Duvo line, we're really looking to that live environment, a dual format, dual market, be it broadcast or cinema, in a live environment. So that's where the Duvo word comes from. Just a quick look, this is on the Monday Night Football side by side. So on the left is your traditional 2/3 inch. On the right is the Duvo lens. So you're really seeing that shallower depth of field. It's the one clip side by side that we have that I just wanted to share there, just to give you a sense for what that is. We've got a whole bunch more content coming shortly. But in terms of the Cine PL box lens, what do we have? We certainly have lots of sharpness in terms of the optical performance. We're 25 millimeter on the wide end. So if you think in terms of 2/3 inch, that's equivalent angle of view of about a 9.9 in the 2/3 inch world. 1,000 mil on the tele end, which is about 400. One of the keys to this, and one of the key reasons we moved up to the size of a box lens, is to get the aperture speeds. This lens is an f2.8, and then it does roll off to an f5 at 1,000 mil. So to get that kind of performance, to be able to work at night, to be able to work in concert environments, in darker studios and darker stages, super important to have that. The native image circle size is the standard Super 35, so the 28.5 mil. It does have an expander built in. It's a 1.5 times expander. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But what does that do? It takes your 25 mil, if you're working in large format, keep those same angles of view, but your focal lengths become the 37.5 out to 1,500 mil. And it does come at a cost of just over a stop of light, of course. In terms of some of the other quick specs to run through them before we get to some content, close focus is 11.5 feet. It is a big lens, 26 inches long, just under 62 pounds. One of the beauties of moving to the box lens design is that it also enables us to take advantage of a lot of the collaborative work the lens manufacturers have been doing with the camera vendors. So things like ALAC, things like, optical stabilization, of course, ARIA and RBF. So the ALAC, ARIA, and RBF, this lens, it supports all of that, and the full generation of Duvo products will support those functions, but that's a function of the cameras being able to do that as well. So today, to my knowledge, currently the only native PL mount camera that supports those technologies is the Sony f5500, but hopefully we'll see more cameras supporting that collaborative technology between camera and lens in the future. So dual format, just want to quickly touch on an extender versus an expander. When we talk about an extender, in the 2/3 inch world, what we're doing is really just using that center wedge of that lens. So you can hopefully clearly see through the zoom here, the distortion, lack of contrast, lack of resolution beyond that center wedge, the extended piece. When we talk about an expander, it's important that when we move into the large format mode or the full frame mode, that full glass needs to be used so we can fill the bigger sensor of the large format cameras. So it's important that we have that the full performance of that lens passing through, filling that larger sensor, not having that optical roll off to the corner. The beauty of it is it can be used as an extender too. So if you leave your camera in Super 35, you don't switch the camera into a larger mode, into a larger format, then of course it does act as an extender and will give you that bonus 50% on the tele end. So just quickly run through the image circles. Like I said, natively 28.5. So when this presentation was done, these were some of the formats that it covers. Of course, we're looking more, with this being focused on live event, live television. It's more the television formats, not the open gate formats that we're making sure that we cover. When we put in the expander, we're bumping that image circle to 41.3 mil. So now we're covering some of the formats in the modern cameras that are out there. We're probably missing the A35 on that, but we'll have to get that updated. So just a quick look back, Fujifilm's been heavily involved in the motion picture world, well over 80, coming up on 90 years. We have a legacy in making motion picture film, negative, positive. We've been making cinema zooms for a long time. We really learned what that means. What does it mean to be a cinema zoom? How do we want to manage the out of focus area? That becomes almost as important or even more important than the in focused areas. So that focus roll off from the in focus to the out of focus, not having planes of focus in there, having that nice soft roll off, those beautiful bokehs. A lot of that is learned over time, and we certainly have a lot of that experience. This product also wants to get used by the cinema type people. So we're super excited. Our friends at Tiffin have come up with some filters, some diffusion, some glimmer glass. So just to quickly show you, this is probably small on your screens, but this is the Tiffin filter with the glimmer glass in it. You'll see this unscrews. So it's a rear filtration system. You would unscrew that, screw that back in. They've got 6 different variations of this filter. Those are shipping today. That's great. Our friends at Wooden Camera have designed a cage. So a cage for a box lens. Nothing to say it can only be used on this, but here now we have the opportunity to have proper flags. We can shield it from flaring and sun. We can mount our accessories on it. Here you'll see on the side, our friends at Preston, their MDR mounted to the side of that cage. So the integration, again, with wireless focus systems, whether it's Preston, Airy, or others, having the ability to work in these environments is important. And then where does it fit? Of course, it kind of fills that need, right? It replaces a whole bunch of cinema lenses that really don't have that reach and speed. And then, conversely, using a 2/3 inch lens can be tough in terms of the hit. So quickly, let's run this reel so you can see it in action.
So I got a chance to use the SK lens for college basketball. I found it to be really responsive and a lot of fun for me as a tight camera operator. So I got a chance to really use the SK and fall in love with it a little bit. I was asked by the manufacturers what's my opinion of it. So with this HZK lens, they checked all the boxes. It is wider at the back end, 25. It is tighter at the front end, 1,000. And it's 5 pounds less.
I like the reach. I mean, you don't have to change lenses all day. You put that lens on, you can shoot the whole job. You know, I'm a cinema DP, right? Any new tool is important to us because we're always trying to do things that have never been done before.
I love that cinema, shallow depth of field look. It evokes a certain feeling, and you're not quite sure what it is, but you definitely know you're seeing something different. And I knew I wanted to bring that to baseball and bring that to the Cubs fans.
The lens is allowing us to take advantage of all the artistic skill level. So now you can take a studio box lens and then put the lead singer in focus and the person that's a few inches away from him out of focus. This is a kind of a barrel lens in a box.
I think when you have that artistic look and that cinematic feel to a game now that we never had before, because you see the raw emotion that goes into it, whether you're winning or losing a game. And that's very compelling when it comes to telling a story.
The HCK lens helps me tell the story of a single star in a single moment in that single breath of time. This tool gives you that interpersonal relation with the viewer at home and help really create some unique moments as the game unfolds.
I wanted to push the boundaries of what the lens was capable of. How well does it slot into our commercial filmmaking ecosystem? We put it on a 73-foot hydroscope from Chapman Leonard. Not only did it balance like a breeze, it let me get elevation, it let me telescope in and out, beautiful jib moves. It's like a real Swiss Army knife.
The latest PL-mounted box lens is a game changer in my mind, thanks to Fuji working with Preston, tying the Preston Cinema handset into it to where we can control focus for close-up shots during a live performance.
What's critical when you're in a concert situation, the close-up camera winds up being one of the furthest away. So you have to shoot the close-up from a camera that's behind the front of house. It's incredibly stable for a lens that's as long as it is and incredibly sharp for the long distance that it had to throw.
We want to emulate what the pitchers use in the pitcher lab and get that same angle right over the pitcher's shoulder that we could bring to our center field. And what we got was beyond my expectation. I mean, we were seeing seams on the ball. You could see the MLB logo as it's rotating towards home plate.
This lens operates as a live television, live cinema, live concert product to its fullest. It's really about the lens, not the camera.
Every sport out there has an application for it, and your operator can push the boundaries of the lens a little bit more, just give them some freedom to go look for the magic, and you can better visually tell a story. So whether it's somebody on the opposite end of the court or right next to them, they're going to be able to get tight enough or wide enough to make everything work.
It absolutely has found a home in sports, and you put it in the hands of creatives that are trying to bring that audience a lot closer into the subject and focus that audience's attention. The missing part really was getting a lens that you can throw onto a build-up kit. It's rare that you see a lens add to a story. And in this case, that's exactly what happens.
I think one of the things that film has always done, that TV has always tried to catch up to, is catching more dramatic shots. This HZK lens really allows us to create the drama and the excitement and can make this sport more intimate.
So we're really excited to see even where that's being deployed today. Those are live in the field. What's new that we showed under glass at IBC was the portable companion lens to this. So this will arrive in the US for the first time, just in time after Interview in Japan for the SVG Summit in New York. You can see it's a portable lens, hand holdable. It has that expander. We're talking 3 kilos, just under 3 kilos, 114 mil front. It's got all the, the PL mount, the Cook/eye, the drive unit on the side, the 0.8 gearing on the focus, 0.6 on the zoom, and 0.4 on the iris. So that familiar setup there. We will have a wide angle too that'll follow 6 months later. That'll be a 14-100 mil. We're real excited about that, being super lightweight and certainly the widest in the class out there today. that wraps up what I've got. Thank you. Hope I didn't go too far over, MIchel. I'll hand it back.
On the edge, Stosh, on the edge of being way too long.